quorum.
And we're still trying to assemble flags.
Oh, okay. Well, we got a few minutes yet. You see what I got over there?
I got it.
You need a mouse?
No, I can.
Sure. Okay.
I actually got.
All right. Fair enough. Roy, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
Oh, you know, we got through the morning. We got through the afternoon.
Paul,
That's good.
I do well, sir.
We still don't have Paul signed up with Signature Authority, but we're getting there. We got a plan.
Huh?
Yeah, it's been exciting. Now, Paul, just to make life even easier for you, I gave you the roll call for both the first session and the second session today. I gave you all the notes for the state deputy, the state secretary, the state treasurer. So you only have to start going crazy when the state advocate starts talking.
Uh-oh.
You're live. Do I need the mic?
No, you sound good.
All right.
Phone's on mute.
Thank you for plugging me.
You know, I don't know why I said that. I don't work. Like you guys that work.
That would just be awful. Have a cat us right in the middle, right at the beginning there.
Maybe Maggie. Where are you?
Oh, she's here. Maggie's been running around taking care of stuff. We got here pretty early. All right. And I'll call this state officers meeting of the summer organizational meeting of the Idaho Knights of Columbus to order. All cell phones that haven't been put on silent should be put on silent, and we'll begin. I'd like to call upon our state warden to do the opening prayer.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together in leadership and fellowship for the betterment of the Knights of Columbus and the state of Idaho. Please join me in praying the prayer of the canonization of Blessed Michael McGivney. God our Father, protector of the poor, and defender of the widows and orphans, you called your priest, Blessed Michael McGivney, to be an apostle of Christian family life, and to lead the young to the general service of the state. Through the example of his life and virtue, may we follow your Son, Jesus Christ, more closely, fulfilling his commandment of charity and building up his body, which is the church. Let the inspiration in your service prompt us to greater confidence in your love, so that we may continue his work, caring for the needy and the outcast. We humbly ask that you glorify, bless, and bless Michael McGivney on earth according to the design of your holy will. Through his intercession, grant favor and help present. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much. Now I'll ask the warden to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that was well done. Thank you for that freestyle prayer. Next up is roll call of officers. And turn it over to, I must say, one of the things that we'll need to pray for is all the people that are sick. In particular, Dan Moberg, our state secretary, has a a serious ear infection. He can't hear out the ear. He can't fly, he can't drive, and he can't hear through that ear. He's getting better, and he's hoping to be able to make it to the Supreme Convention. Did I get that right, Todd? Okay, very good. So he will be replaced at this meeting by our worthy state treasurer-elect, who's going to take notes.
So George,
Yes.
if he doesn't make the Supreme Convention, who's our first alternate?
You know, I have that on the Form 111. I'll look that up. Because I just had to send it to Chuck like yesterday or the day before. But
Have you got the credentials from Supreme yet?
Have not gotten those. There's a few things going on. Supreme this year isn't even going to tell us what's going on with the Circle of Honor until like the second full week of the month. So I think starting on the 11th or something, they'll start sending out reports about membership. I don't know, they got walloped this year, so. Yes, sir.
I understand they're doing that SAP, or no, that Microsoft transition right now for all the programs.
Wow.
So that's why we didn't get anything on safe environment for the last month. Because they weren't going to do retro on all the old reports, they were going to come up with new ones.
Oh boy, so they're actually transitioning. So that's a neat thing. What McCaffrey had told us, Tom, he said they had 3 or maybe 4 completely different computer systems for different forms of reports and recording and history. And they didn't talk to one another. So he's going to try to unify it. There's going to just be one unified system, and they're putting it up now.
It's been doing it for the last month.
He threatened to do that next year. If he's doing it this year, that's
Like I
he's
complained
ahead
I
of
couldn't get my reports.
Okay. So now I call upon our worthy state treasurer-elect to do the roll call of officers.
George, he's not elected anymore. He's our state treasurer.
He hasn't been installed yet.
Okay.
Okay,
Whoever I am,
whoever he is. All right, I'll stop the elect thing.
State Chaplain Father John Casera, State Deputy George Messina,
Present,
State Secretary Dan Moberg,
excused,
State Treasurer Paul Petro here, State Advocate Ken Reed,
Present.
State Warden John Thurston.
Here.
And Media State Deputy Roy Bartholomew.
Present.
And Regional Director,
Chuck Dabber.
checked out, I'm sorry.
He's excused. He's got, the reason that Paul probably took long on that is because he's got all these titles after it, RGD, PSD, FDM, FDSM.
And plus, I just got it like 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
Sir, I complete the roll call.
Okay, thank you, worthy state treasurer. Our state deputy's comments. Welcome to a great new fraternal year. We did well last year. If my calculations are correct, we actually made a pinnacle and did so in April. So and we wound up at 139.38% of our goal, which is incredible. Naturally, at the state convention, the Supreme Rep challenged us to do better this year. So, that will be very, very difficult. We will try to make pinnacle again. That would be a good goal. The number is 288 members. We got to 269 this year. We have a number of ideas in mind to try to get to that number, or whatever it reduces to. They give incentives that reduce your number. We're more than the state numbers. I never talked about the state numbers last year, and that's probably a little more than I'm going to talk about it this year. For the rest of the year, our success will be measured in terms of how our districts do, how our councils do, and how our people are served. Okay. Most of all, even above all that, is how well we pray. That's not going to be measured, not in anything but a spiritual sense. We should pray for each other. We should pray for the people who are our charges. Our state officers are mentors. Our mentors have district deputies that they need to keep in their prayers. The district deputy needs to keep their councils in their prayers. Grand Knights need to keep their people in their prayers, at least their officers. We have exciting new initiatives. Not much new beyond what we talked about at the convention, but there are some new things going on, and progress has been made. We have a lot of information and fellowship to share this week. We're going to work together on a lot of things, and the biggest thing is we all know we're in this together. No one's alone. If you got something that you don't know the answer to, you just got to struggle. Maybe it's something personal. We're here for you. We'll pray for you. We'll help you where we can. All right. We're a team. We're a family. So let's move forward with a spirit of fraternity, respect, and caring for our people, and enjoy our opportunity to serve God by serving one another. That concludes my opening remarks. Now I will give you the state secretary report, because our state secretary is not present. I already mentioned that due to illness, he's at home and unable to attend. So Paul Petro, our state treasurer, will be taking the minutes. I ask that you consider this is his first time taking meeting minutes, and it's a daunting task. So repeat things, especially if he asks. All right. The worthy state secretary, after consulting many people, the QuickBooks online experts that we talked to, myself and several past state deputies have decided to create a new QuickBooks online account, which was started with the information from July 1, 2022. Now this will have a cost savings the first year, and then thereafter a fixed cost, which might be slightly more expensive this year, but over a period of time, as the cost of that goes up, we'll have the fixed cost, and so it'll be a good move. There is nothing else reported by the state secretary. That concludes the report of the state secretary. I will now, because our state treasurer doesn't have access to anything, give the state treasurer report. Details are not available on individual sub-accounts until the new QuickBook Online account is completed. The state treasurer will soon have signature authority. He doesn't have it now. Until then, payments will have to be made by either state debit card or by someone using personal credit card or check and then getting reimbursed from the state. In the meantime, the state secretary can use his debit card to pay things. In lieu of him being present here, I will use my state debit card where it can be used to pay for things. Our state account balance stands at $40,272.61. We have pending withdrawals and debits worth $281 flat, which leaves us an available balance of $39,991.61. So I can't tell you anything about the sub-accounts at this moment. I will now conclude the report of the state treasurer. Worthy state advocate, will you please come to the podium and give your state.
Hey, George.
Yes.
Where you state deputy. I I might have dozed through the secretary report, but do we have any accounts that are still needing to get paid?
I should have said that. No, from everything I remember, we were at 0 accounts receivable as of the state convention.
So all of our accounts, I thought we had announced that we had 2 or 3 councils that hadn't paid.
I don't remember that.
at the
I'll have to
convention.
ask, I
But
will
but
check
we're
on-
good.
I will
So
check on it.
so we were able to get St. Mary's, Hispanic, and a couple of those other ones that were still missing.
All right,
They've all paid.
I will be 100% sure to ask Dan that. I don't know. Do you know that? No. Okay. All right. Thank you for asking. I'll check into that. I did not receive a report, so.
Yeah.
Where the state at?
What I'd recommend is just have Dan just put it in the minutes.
Okay. We'll do that.
Worthy state officers, directors. As you heard me say yesterday or earlier, I can't get in any of my reports. So, but I have not heard anything negative on any of the home corporation, the 990s, that type of thing. I'm hopeful to get into the reports sometime this month, and I can update everyone on that. But any other concerns, I will talk tomorrow more about safe environment. But make no doubt about it that it is just up on everyone's radar right here. As some of you may or may not know, last year we had some unique steps that had to be done for the state environment. We actually had a brother Knight who was convicted of sexual assault, and we got rid of him. But that's not unique to just him. So from the standpoint, we have to figure out a way to get Knights either taking, the officers of course have to take our safe environment from the Knights of Columbus. But we have to figure out a way to get our Knights taking at least the diocesan ones. And that's therein the challenge. If they all take the Knights of Columbus one, great, fantastic. But we got to have, for the officers, I'm going to, and the directors, I'm going to recommend a 2-month grace period and not wait till the end of the year or half a year. Let's get this out of the way, set a good example for them. That's my major concern for this year. And I'll talk more about it tomorrow.
So Ken, going back to home corporations, have you has Supreme come to you with lists, and are our home corporations up to speed with their paperwork?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
But when I was last notified, and I looked it up, and that was for the state convention. And when I tried to look it up this summer, it's not.
Yeah.
It's never been updated. And that's the same if you go look at all the safe environment type stuff. The only one that they update is the one where everybody has their membership number on. Yeah, I'm going to look up 100 and some odd, brother Knights on this. I don't think so. So.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was a big issue probably 6 or 7 years ago, and we really worked to get them all to do the paperwork. And I was just curious if they're
So anyhow,
continuing it.
That's my only concern that I really have. And as I said, I'll talk about it tomorrow, as well as salt mine radio. Right?
Does the diocese recognize Knights of Columbus safe environment?
Absolutely. They consider us the gold standard with Presidium. And I did not know this, but apparently the diocese has 40 to 60 various teachers for their safe environment program. So at the very least, we should get the councils to host a meeting, at their church parish, and then get get everybody brought up to speed on the diocese one. And the bishop is cracking down. I think it probably because, you know, the state of California, for example, has almost half its diocese declaring bankruptcy because of lawsuits that are totaling $500 million in some of them. So, and Oakland Diocese has come out and said they're going to have to close places of worship and curtail programs. So if we don't want that to happen here, we have to figure some way, maybe that's the push to get guys involved and really helping the church, protecting the Catholic faith, the diocese, and the youth. So, any other questions?
Thank you very much, worthy state advocates. And now I'd like to call to the podium our worthy state warden to comment on the
Worthy state deputy. I took custody of the equipment at the convention. I've had a chance to go through it. It all appears to be in good repair. We're missing a couple of things for today, like we'd replace an easel and some things like that, so we've addressed those. But the equipment appears to be in good repair, and I'm looking at maybe making some changes for storage, so there's less cardboard boxes because they don't hold up very long. Worthy state deputy.
Thank you very much, worthy state warden. And now I'd like to call to the podium our worthy immediate past state deputy, Roy Bartholomew, to comment about the sheriff.
So our charitable funds are still where they were reported at the last officer meeting. We still have $2,066.76 in our ultrasound fund. And as I mentioned at the state convention, typically what we're going to do is when we hear a council has an opportunity for an ultrasound fund, we are just going to reach out to our councils and really push for them to make some donations and get that money. And it worked very well the last couple of years. So I think that's been our strategy, and I think continues to be our strategy for the ultrasound charitable fund. For the general fund, we have $8,184.86. I've talked to several different people. Of course, I haven't done a poll or anything, but you know, we were very successful with the raffle last year, but councils aren't necessarily wanting to do one, I guess. And one of the thoughts that me and another past state deputy had is possibly just doing with our January billing, just asking for you know, a 1% or 2% per member donation so that we can continue to grow that fund in the future. You know, we've talked about a few ideas. You know, Ken has a great idea of, you know, looking for some corporate sponsorship, but we need a leader to go out and do that, whether that's hiring a company to actually do that for us, or if we can find a brother knight to take the lead on that, that's yet to be determined, I guess. So that's kind of where we're at with the general fund. I just want to reiterate that general fund, we really want to, you know, be focusing those funds, you know, for George's presentations at the state convention in the future. And we do want to grow that corpus in the future so that eventually we can get to that just being interest. So, and interest go into, you know, our wheelchair missions and our Code for Kids missions and those things at our convention that we present checks to. So that's still kind of the goal and desire of those charitable funds. Any questions or
Can
comments?
you repeat the numbers for the,
Yeah, I'll just let you take that out. So it's 8,184 and 86 for the general fund.
over that general? Or
Yeah, and that's $2,066.76.
So I have a question. Is that two separate numbers, or does the general fund cover the ultrasound as well?
No, they're two different funds.
So we have over 10,000 in our charity.
In our charity, but the ultrasound is specifically for an ultrasound machine for the 501c3 organization. So if a council is looking to put an ultrasound machine in with a medical facility, they're going to have to follow the procedures to be a 501c3, which in pretty much all cases, I can't imagine it not being. And we probably wouldn't want to pursue an ultrasound if they weren't. So.
Was the idea of the trust fund to help offset future potential per capita increases?
In essence, and that's why, one of our suggestions is just not a you have to pay this, but just, can you pay, a couple dollars a member or $1 a member? Yeah, to make sure that we continue to grow the account, or we try to do, an annual fundraiser, like a raffle again. But, I think bottom line is we're probably going to be looking at 15 to 20 councils that will do either or, and we'll probably always struggle to get our smaller, poorer councils to donate anything. The ones that don't bring delegates here would never donate anything. But if we get them thinking that we want to continue to try to grow this, I don't know. We don't have an answer yet. I need to set up a meeting with the past state deputies and the state officers and have some more discussion and make a decision before the winter meeting and how we're gonna.
And if it were a forced per capita increase, where we're gonna say we're gonna add $1 per member, that has to be voted on at the convention, right?
Yeah, and that's why I think for this year, we just say, if you're willing, please, you have 186 members, can you send $1 per member or $2 per member this year for the state charity account, so we don't need to do a charity raffle or something. Just the rich councils will easily write a check. The poorer ones would struggle to do that.
I have a question too along this lines. Are we going to be able to get how much money we have in the Pennies from Heaven account, or is that right now not possible?
Pennies from Heaven.
That would be one of the sub accounts that
Yes,
that's normally reported on at this meeting.
Yes.
So
We can't report on that until every financial transaction is moved from documentation into QuickBooks Online.
The reason I'm asking is I expect a request to come in.
Okay. Money's there.
I would guess we have 5,000-6,000.
Yeah, it might even be more, because we were trying to give
We
2,000 to the priest, Father Gabriel,
Mm-hmm.
and their family wouldn't accept it. So it went back into Pennies from Heaven.
Well, the parish, I called the parish, and they said, we talked to the family's 100% taken care of, they have no bills whatsoever. Father and his family request that you pay it to someone else who needs it at a future time.
Yeah, and John, for your information, if you're not aware, there's four state officers that vote. I'm talking to that John, sorry, that vote on the Pennies from Heaven. So Ken gets the request, and then you and Paul and Dan Moberg and Ken are the voting committee for the Pennies from Heaven request. And then if there's a tie if it's a 2-2 tie, then George is the deciding vote. But yeah, typically, you guys are the only ones that see the requests, and I guess I don't even know, have we had very many requests, Ken, in the last
four last year?
So that,
Yeah, and we had the fifth one, and that was turned down.
it might be worthwhile to just get information out in the newsletter. Hey guys, we have a Pennies from Heaven fund. Just a reminder, if we can get that something to Steve.
Yeah, that could be a little article.
In fact, let me come up with it, because
Maybe wait until we know the amount in the fund.
well, also too, I've had 3 or 4 conversations from different Grand Knights, and I said, well, that's not really a Pennies from Heaven type of request, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, even reminding people on the bylaws and what needs to be done.
Mhm.
Just a reminder in the
that's
newsletter,
key.
so everybody, we have so many new Grand Knights that just don't even, what's that fun for? So many new nights. Obviously, we had a great year last year, so the more we can communicate that, that'd be great.
In that case, I would look for a volunteer to write this article. Thank you very much, worthy state advocate.
Yeah,
Steve has
and
not
highlight
published
that
the
the
newsletter.
request goes to you so that they know that.
That helps because they come to me sometimes, or they'll go to the state secretary, or they'll call and say, "Who do I send this to?" So it's really helpful to make that obvious. And maybe we put something. Maybe we have a general information tab on the state website that says, if you have this in alphabetical order, pennies from heaven, state advocate, and other things. Contacts. Who are you going to call? You can call it that. Ghostbusters. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Do we have any? I'm going to table that discussion and now, are there any old business to bring forward? Yes.
What do you say, Deputy? I guess, a couple months ago, you talked about, a Salt and Light radio initiative, and I guess you want to bring that up again. I guess just explain what you're thinking and how we're trying to move forward with that. I guess
there will be a full report on that given by a worthy state advocate tomorrow in its time slot.
Yeah, but this is more state officer thing.
So
because
at a high level, what is happening is that Salt and Light is expanding all around the state. They are now in 3 major areas: Boise, Twin Falls, and Grangeville.
yeah, are they trying to get up in Coeur d'Alene?
They are.
Yes.
Oh,
They
okay.
plan to open in Coeur d'Alene this year, but before that, they're going to open on the east side of the state.
Yeah.
I think the Manan Butte, they're going to build a 10,000 watt transmitter. It's going to be FM and AM. I believe the FM will be in English and the AM will be in Spanish. They would like us to pay at least $1,200 for monthly support in each of those areas. Now, I checked into it a little bit, and we can't just pay out of the charity accounts. We have to come up with a different way to raise the funds. So we'll look into that. Now, I know, for example, Keith Pettyjohn has gone to Idaho Falls and met with some of the people that I gave him names, and they're donating. I've donated at the recent fundraiser, but they would like us to make a commitment to them to pay a certain amount. Now, there's 2 ways that can be done. One is you pay them $1,200 up front, and the other way is you pay them $100 a month or anything in between. They're just looking for a stream of income so they can do their operations, because it costs money to operate those transmitters everywhere.
Yeah.
So, State Deputy,
Yeah.
just for my clarification, is it $1,200 a month? It's $100 a month for 12 months, right? Not $14,000 a year. Okay.
It's $1,200 a year.
So but that's for each place, and that's for each language. George, that's only for if you want to tell them what they get for that.
Yeah, but Keith and I have had many conversations and long conversations, and he admitted to me the money's not the most important thing to them. All right, but they consider themselves, this is their mission. That this is they're a teaching organization, and they're help spreading the faith. And because of that, they think this partnership with the Knights of Columbus is very key, because they're into big events like the men's conference, but in Keith's words, they need Ember type of events, and we can provide them the Ember, like the Into the Breach that I'm trying to push so hard on. So he was saying money's important, keeps the lights on. Because he goes, but it's not the most important thing with this partnership.
Yeah.
So we have to figure a way that it works for both. And we're at the first. We've taken the first steps, and they've been very successful. I'll come to the next steps in my presentation tomorrow.
No,
And
that
then-
sounds good.
How the district deputies can help us, that type of thing, because we're both
But-
feeling this out.
But what's this? I guess what I'm asking is, what's our strategy? I mean,
Why are we doing it?
say, well, do we want to pursue this, first of all, as a state, in terms of trying to get our councils to raise $1,200 a year for that cause versus, I guess I just wonder if we'd get a lot of pushback on the councils because, me personally, I'd much rather buy a wheelchair or a coat for a kid or put food in a family's mouth with my fundraising before I'd want to pay a radio
So
station.
allow me to answer that first, and then we'll, I don't want your whole report to disappear. Okay, so there are several reasons why the Knights of Columbus councils and state council should be interested in this. Number one, we get free advertising from them, and we don't pay for it all. Okay, public service announcements. That will drive in a whole new venue, our information about our upcoming meetings, our upcoming events, and that will draw parishioners and non-parishioners to our events because they can hear it. And don't think that they don't have people that are not Catholic listening, because they do, quite a few. And in fact, we get converts that way. So that's number one. Number two, we can then advertise for joining the Knights. And it's really easy to join the Knights. Also, I've talked to them about sending out the QR code for us with their emails and even on their newsletters. Okay, so it'll drive membership, and we can do a lot with that with different ways. And number three, we can get our messages across with these 15, 14-minute interviews. So we get a whole lot of different aspects of the Knights. You know how you were just saying, even Grand Knights, a lot of people don't know what the Pennies from Heaven Fund is. Hey, that's a great talk. Let's do it. Okay, so they interview you. It's fun. It's ridiculously fast. I mean, it's over, and you're like, wait a minute, I had more to say.
Yeah.
It's very informative for people listening.
They have numbers on who listens to them. And guess what? Their age demographic is exactly where we're going.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of young people.
And the
A lot of
interesting,
Hispanics, I'm guessing too.
well, they're, on the Spanish station, but we're on the English station right now. But the interesting thing about it is it's just not young men listening to this, it's wives.
Yeah.
And
Is,
we don't get that. We don't get messages out to them, using our traditional way of doing it.
No,
They don't go
not
to
at
our
all.
website. They don't get our emails. They,
yeah.
and
Oh, no, I know.
And so the hope is to get these people to become associate memberships and then convert them to council memberships.
Yeah.
So all told, there's 4 reasons right there that are pretty powerful.
Yeah. Is Supreme, I mean, have we had any discussions with Supreme? Could they pony up, I guess?
No, we have not. My understanding is they're not into sending money out to the councils for things like this at this point.
Okay.
For example, the first few men's conferences they sent money to, and then everybody started having men's conferences. Suddenly now they don't send money anymore. They did send us some books, and we were giving those out, and that was nice.
Okay.
That was very good. But,
Yeah, and certainly we can talk to Brian. I mean, you probably already have, haven't you?
oh yeah.
I mean, does Brian have some ideas?
For how to do this?
Yeah.
How to raise money for this? We can have fundraisers. They're looking for manpower too, but
There's a whole bunch of things. I'm covered, Mike. George wants me to not give away all my talk.
Well, this is our officer meeting, guys. And
Yeah, but
if we're
like-
not discussing and all, moving forward with a firm state understanding and belief, we're not going to get the district deputies to buy in on it, and then we're going nowhere.
Here's something else.
Well, before you go, do you not think that those 4 are good enough for a start?
Yeah, I'm just one opinion. I mean,
Okay.
What do some of the other state officers think about this initiative? John, Paul?
Go ahead, John.
Unless I misunderstood what you said, you were talking about $100 for each English and Hispanic station.
Right.
And as I think now they're looking at 3 new ones. They've got 3 existing ones. All those have Spanish. We're already talking $1,200
But we're not gonna support all of that. Right now, we're supporting Anglo in Boise. And I just gave them $1,000 down in Twin Falls for that one, out of my own pocket, not out of the Knights. So,
Yeah, and the Pocatello Knights gave them 3,000, so.
yeah, so, but yeah, I don't know if they counted it towards their advertising or not. They might have just counted that as a fundraiser. So I need to clarify that with Diane, but yes, sir.
Concern I have is the markets they're in. I have their app, but they're not in my market. So trying to convince councils in my market might be kind of difficult to say, we're gonna send our money to Boise or run a radio station.
Yeah,
Which is
But they
basically
are
what you're
going,
saying.
and that might be 100% true, but they are trying to expand out there, you know.
But they haven't, and then what, like you were saying, if now we got 4 stations we're gonna support, that's $400 a month times 12 months. Now we're talking $4,800 a month in our budget.
But we wouldn't ask for your area to go and participate perhaps, if there wasn't any exposure up there, broadcast.
you already have strong Catholic, probably radio coming from Spokane, don't you, John? I mean, Salt and Light would probably, I mean, you already have your audience in